Hello, everyone. I'm Phil Kern. I'm the Trimble dealer manager for microdrones. And along with me is John Lee, who's the channel sales manager for Delair Tech. And today we're going to be presenting a webinar about Trimble UAS, how to elevate your surveying business with unmanned aerial systems.
Hey,
I wanted,
Phil. Sorry to
yeah,
interrupt. We're still seeing your notes on the
okay.
display.
I was looking for the chat message there. There, how's that better?
Perfect. Yeah, that looks great. Thanks.
Thank you. And I wanted to mention to everyone about asking questions during the presentation. Just go ahead and use your chat window to submit questions at any time. You don't have to wait until the end. All right, so what we're going to talk about today is if an aerial solution is right for my business. We're going to talk about weighing your options as far as what to look for in a UAV, turnkey solutions, direct georeferencing, aerial surveying, application-specific data analytics, and next steps. One of the things to remember is that drones, UASs, and UAVs are enabling the use of aerial remote sensing on a scale that's practically unprecedented. Partnering as a customer with Trimble, Delair Tech, and microdrones is one of the best moves you can make. We'll speak about Delair Tech purchasing Gatewing from Trimble, as well as the alliance formed between the two companies and Trimble. This alliance has the strongest mix of commercial, professional, rotary, and fixed-wing drones in the world. We've got turnkey solutions with full marketing and customer support, so that if you need to figure out how to use this with your end users, with your customers, we can certainly do that. We're going to look at success stories, even in unanticipated situations, and data analysis. We're going to talk about Trimble Business Center, UAS Master, and Delair Tech Analytics to cover all the most profitable markets that you're in. And we'll tell you how to get started with Delair Tech and microdrones. One thing I wanted to mention is that not all Trimble dealers are sellers of microdrone products yet. So if your dealer isn't, let us know, please, and we'll get them signed up right away. So we're at the dawn of an aerial era. Work is changing. Drones, UASs, and UAVs, as I said before, are enabling use of aerial remote sensing on a scale that's practically unprecedented. Small projects that were once unaffordable or impractical are now possible. Whereas before, if you're going to be contracting the use of a manned aerial platform, such as a small aircraft with an aerial camera, there were certainly minimums that they'd have to fly in order to make it practical for them. But now you can rethink minimum project size. There's practically no lower limit. This also places tools in your hands that weren't available at these price points previously. So you've got advances in software technology that allow you to do it all, not just collection, but image and data analysis to final output products. This is clearly a revolution in disruptive technology. Regulations are changing as well. In the US, for example, previously Section 333 had some pretty stringent regulations on who could actually fly a drone. It had to be a licensed aircraft pilot, and certificates of authorizations were areas where you would actually apply to fly, had to be submitted months in advance. Now that Part 107 came out last year in the US from the FAA, it allows drone pilots to get certified for commercial drone operations much more easily. You no longer have to have a pilot's license. You can get your drone license, the study materials are online, and then you go to a local testing center to take the test. it's rapidly advancing geospatial drone use, but so you shouldn't get left behind. Um, the commercial drone use is still soon going to be the norm, though. The FAA in the U.S. has approved more than 300 drone licenses since Part 107 was passed last year. That means about 24,000 businesses have taken to the skies, and the number is expected to increase exponentially in 2017. Throughout the rest of the world, the global market for commercial applications of drone technology is currently estimated at about $2 billion. And for all uses of drone technology, it's expected to grow to as much as $127 billion by 2020. This is an incredible growth. So, as I said, geospatial drone use is rapidly advancing. If you're involved in geospatial and construction, the companies in these industries are purchasing in large numbers. You can do everything from mapping, volumetrics, inspection, DEM and DSM generation, point cloud generation, planimetric compilation, even LiDAR is possible now. So in this new area, in this new era rather, there are going to be winners and losers. So who's going to win? The companies who adopt the right technology early on, companies who invest in UAVs that expand their cost savings and capabilities long term, rather than investing in the cheapest possible, oops, sorry about that, cheapest possible drone platform that gets today's job done. You need to look at this long term. Companies who choose UAVs are going to make their bids more competitive as well. They're going to get better accuracy in less time with less people for less cost. So you're actually in the right place at the right time. Trimble customers have a competitive edge. You're in the most established growth areas. The simplification of statutes, not just in the US, but worldwide for operating drones favor these industries. And you have Trimble, Microdrones, and Delair that are part of a supportive network that wants you to succeed and is going to help you to do so. So you're being given easy access to a full lineup of the highest quality UAV solutions. As I said earlier, the alliance of Delair and Microdrones together provide you with the world's most robust commercial line of professional fixed wing and rotary drones. So why are Microdrones and Delair Trimble's preferred UAS providers? Well, last summer, Delair purchased Gatewing. Subsequently, Trimble made Microdrones and Delair its preferred UAV providers. And why did they do that? There are literally thousands of businesses around the world that trust us. Between Delair and Microdrones, we have thousands and thousands of existing customers worldwide. So you're looking at world-class engineering giving you job site efficiency. So both Microdrones and Delair UAVs have some of the strongest housings and components in the industry. They're rain and heat resistant. In the case of Microdrones, we have fail-safe motors. Most off-the-shelf rotary drones need to have their motors replaced every 30 to 50 hours. Microdrones has low-speed DC motors that are built by us and are rated for 10,000 flight hours. They use larger propellers and slower speeds, an average of about 3,000 RPM versus 6,000 to 8,000 RPM on the off-the-shelf products. This gives you more flight time and uses less battery power. And both companies' platforms are designed and manufactured to produce stable flight for precision results. We've also got proven solutions and support. As I said, the track record earlier, we have literally thousands of customers worldwide that have used our products for years. Both companies have stable and secure financials. Production can be ramped up to meet demand. They're both scalable. And we both do rigorous QC testing during manufacture and prior to shipment to ensure high quality that meets or exceeds expectations. We also have customer support organizations that are dedicated to customer success. That's hard to find these days, especially in the UAV market. One of the other things that we do is we use convenient package solutions. Makes it easier for customers to pick and choose what they need. So when we're talking about the microdrones products, we'll start out with the smallest one first. This would be the MD Mapper 200. It's a made out of carbon fiber, just as all of the microdrone products are. It has a payload of about a little over half a pound, 250 grams. The cruise speed is about 18 miles an hour, and its endurance is about 20 to 25 minutes. And we package that along with a 20.1 megapixel camera. That's a nadir pointing camera with a custom vibration-free nadir mount to capture the images. This is extremely lightweight and easy to transport. It's compact, but it's tough enough to stand up to rough weather in daily use. You can map up to about 30 hectares or 74 acres on one battery charge. The next one in the fleet is the MD Mapper 1000. It's larger, about a little over a meter in size. The payload is 1.2 kilos or nearly 3 pounds. The cruise speed is about 27 miles an hour, and the endurance is 30 to 45 minutes under ideal conditions. It has a Sony A6300 camera packaged with it, and the nadir mount. It's a 24 megapixel camera with the nadir mount. It's extremely stable for data collection, so it's resistant to rough winds, harsh weather, hot temperatures, high voltage, and strong magnetic fields. This drone has not only GPS control, it also has its own magnetic compass, as well as an ultrasonic sensor, so that if you get within about 3 meters of ground, it can automatically land itself if you have that turned on. You'll be able to map up to about 60 hectares or about 148 acres on a single battery charge with this guy. Then we have the MD Mapper 1000 DG, and the DG stands for direct georeferencing. It's the same exact drone, but it's packaged with a Sony RX1 R2 camera and mount. The Sony camera is a 42.4 megapixel camera with the same vibration-free nadir mount, but also attached to the camera itself is an Aplanix APX15 IMU. So that is a single board module attached to the camera itself and a survey-grade GNSS receiver inside the drone that's precisely calibrated for mapping. That you can use many fewer, or, and I know the surveyors among you are going to cringe at this, or no ground control points. And you'll see in the stories from the field how we actually did that recently. So you get more productivity. You can map up to 80 hectares or about 198 acres on one battery charge. And one thing that's extremely important here is because you're using direct georeferencing, this now allows you to do corridor mapping. Corridor mapping using PPK or RTK still requires a lot of control points that aren't on the corridor itself. This allows you to put control points and checkpoints down the center of the corridor and use those. And the last one in the lineup is our heavy lift vehicle, the MD Mapper 3000 DG. It has a payload of up to 5 kilos or about 11 pounds. Its cruising speed is about 36 miles an hour or 16 meters per second, and the endurance is 45 minutes under ideal conditions. It can operate at heights up to 4,000 meters. So if you've got to go up into the mountains somewhere and go ahead and run. You can go quite high with this drone. You can use the same Sony camera and mount, the same Aplanix IMU, and you'll see some other, because of the large size payload, you'll see some other payloads become available later in the year that'll be able to come off, they'll be able to be used with the MD Mapper 3000. So you need to keep your options open though, because if you have other tasks you need to do with the Microdrones products, we have other packages. The Plus M, for example, is a multispectral product. That's the MicaSense red edge camera. It does red, green, blue, near infrared, as well as red edge. This is used primarily for agricultural monitoring. We have a Plus T option, which is for thermal, where you can use a FLIR camera along with the sensor. And that can give you both an RGB video as well as FLIR and various flavors of how they display thermal information. We also have a Plus I package. That's an inspection package that uses the same Sony A6300 camera but with a zoom lens and a 2-axis brushless gimbal. So that brushless gimbal will allow you to point the camera wherever you need to and then zoom in or zoom out. You can use HD video for streaming the video back to the ground, but when you really need to take precise imagery, you put it into photo mode, and then instead of just getting the low resolution of the HD video, you'll get your full 24.2 megapixel image. And you'll also see a Plus LiDAR package coming soon. And John, I'll turn it over to you for the Delairtech products.
Thanks, Phil. And good day, everyone, from Southern California. I'd like to start by telling you a little bit about Delairtech and the drones we manufacture. We're headquartered in Toulouse, France, the aerospace capital of France, and today we're over 100 persons strong, and we have a presence in 86 countries around the world. As you heard from Phil, we now own a subsidiary, Gatewing, based in Ghent, Belgium, and I'm assigned to the new Delairtech Americas office in Los Angeles. We manufacture drones for industry and integrate with the software products to plan and control the missions, process the data, and deliver analytic solutions to you, the end user. Pictured, the D-18 is a beyond visual line of sight, or BVLOS certified, long-range drone. It's capable of flying up to 2 hours and weighs just 2 kilograms. This drone carries an RGB, or a 5-band multispectral sensor, with optional direct georeferencing for increased accuracy with fewer ground control points. As more and more countries allow BVLOS flights, this drone is sure to be a popular choice in the fixed-wing market. Next slide, please. The DT-26 is another BVLOS certified long-range drone. Larger and capable of carrying heavier payloads, this drone offers a number of sensor options, including RGB, thermal or IR video, LiDAR, and 5-band multispectral. We use a Regal LiDAR sensor, considered to be the best in the industry, and with the highest accuracy and point density to serve a variety of applications like power line mapping. Long-range communications for both the DT series is accomplished using ground stations or 3G cellular. Next slide, please. The UX5 series, acquired from Trimble and manufactured by our subsidiary Gatewing, is a workhorse of the industry. There are over 500 UX5s flying today. It's a medium-range drone weighing approximately 2.5 kilograms, but this aircraft is highly maneuverable and capable of mapping up to 5 square kilometers in a single flight. The UX5 carries a 24 megapixel RGB camera and optionally a 5-band multispectral sensor. Setup is quick and easy, and multiple areas can be captured in a single day. It's designed to be flown within line of sight, and aircraft communications are accomplished with a radio modem. Next slide, please. Our most popular UX5 is the HP, or high precision. With the addition of an onboard GNSS receiver for PPK post-processing, the UX5 HP sets the standard for high accuracy mapping with a ground sample distance and positional accuracy up to 1 centimeter. Back to you, Phil.
Thanks, John. So we've been talking about direct georeferencing, and so why is this actually so important? Let's take a look at this. What is it compared to other methods? Direct georeferencing, we feel, is always a good investment. You achieve higher cost savings, efficiency, and accuracy because you can use less people and safer methods out in the field. Why? Well, it actually measures the orientation angles needed to georeference in real time. RTK and PPK compute in real time, which can lead to error and decreased accuracy. So when we're talking about the omega phi kappa or tilt, tip, and swing, which are pretty technical photogrammetry concepts, basically it's capturing where the camera is pointing at that moment that the image is taken. Not just the X, Y, and Z, but exactly where the camera is pointing to. It allows you control for quality as well. RTK doesn't store the data used to compute the orientation angle, so the work can't be checked. With PPK you can, but there are some folks that feel it's still less accurate. There are others that feel it's more accurate or as accurate. I'm just going to say there's a lot of advanced science and math to this accuracy piece, and we'd be happy to discuss it in more detail. Just contact your dealer or me for microdrones, or John Lee for Delairtech to talk about direct georeferencing. But this is something that's been used in the manned aerial camera platform space for years and years. It's also necessary to use with LiDAR as well. Efficiency, it lets you cover more ground in less time because you have to take less photos. So you can complete projects in a much smaller time. And you don't necessarily have to have ground control points, although the surveyors are all going to be saying, yes, you have to have at least one ground control point and 3 checkpoints, and they'd probably like even more ground control points. So for example, here we are with standard aerial triangulation on the left side. When you're using a drone, you're looking at 80% by 80% end lap and side lap. Ground control points are always needed. Image blocks are always needed, and self-calibration is typically done as part of the process. When we're talking about GNSS-assisted AT, which is RTK or PPK, you've got 80 by 80% end lap and side lap still. You can use fewer ground control points, but you still need to do image blocks, and self-calibration is still typically done. When we're talking about direct georeferencing, you can get away with 60 by 40% or 60 by 20% end lap and side lap. You can have one or no ground control points, and you can orient a single photo, stereo pairs, single strips, or an entire block. You don't have to do an entire block of imagery in order to be able to do measurement. And as I said earlier, this enables corridor mapping. And we'll talk about this in the success story in a second here. So when we're looking at time savings, mainly due to less photos being needed and little or no ground control, it's a huge cost saving as a result on each project. If you're looking at data processing taking 12 hours versus 4 hours, being able to save 8 hours on data processing, some time on flight as well, especially if you're doing multiple flights over the same area, or if you're trying to fit in several areas in the same day, direct georeferencing is going to have a lot of benefits for you. So after many projects, you'll see that this really adds up to a huge cost savings. So we're going to talk about some success stories from the field. A few weeks ago, we were doing a demonstration for a customer in Chile. We were mapping a corridor for them. We didn't know we'd be mapping a corridor for them. We thought we were going to be doing an area. They had no ground control points in the area, although some of the checkpoints they had might have been ground control points. They didn't tell us. We were at high altitude. The level of the surface was at 2,500 meters above sea level. So we were flying in high altitude conditions. And we had rough winds, and it was pretty cold there. So what we're looking at here on the left side is a profile created from the imagery and the point cloud with the MEMD Mapper 1000 DG. So you're actually able to see in the profile the pipe that's running down next to the retaining wall that they're going to be adding on to. And you can see that here where the yellow arrow is pointing to. This is the pipe. So let's look at some results here. Accuracy assessment here. We only had one line of imagery. We didn't even fly 2 lines of imagery. There were no ground control points and only, as I said before, 6 checkpoints. So the accuracy assessment, if we look at the mean, 2.7 centimeters on the ground for X, 0.3 of a centimeter in Y, and 7.7 centimeters in Z. The sigma naught was 7.6 centimeters. If you know what sigma naught is, 1.8 centimeters in Y, and 2 centimeters in Z. And the RMS error overall for the entire project was 8.1 centimeters in X, 1.9 centimeters in Y, and 7.9 centimeters in Z. If we had a ground control point that we could have attached back to, the results would have been way better than that even. But this shows you the power of being able to use direct georeferencing. And oh, by the way, there were no kinematic stations available either. So this was all measurements done directly from the drone. So John, I'll let you talk about the Delairtech oil field survey success story. Whoops, sorry about that.
Great, thanks, Phil. Yeah, let me tell you about a very successful UX-5 mission that we flew. It was up in the taiga of northern Alberta, where a major oil company needed to map an area for oil extraction from tar sands. This area was traditionally First Native lands, so they wanted to get current maps for historical and archaeological purposes before construction actually began. The mission was complicated by dense vegetation, and especially by being sandwiched between 2 military bases, which restricted our flight area. But with the UX-5's short takeoff and landing, its ability to fly in tight airspace and capture both RGB and near-infrared imagery, and then derive a dense 3D point cloud and DSM, the customer got just what they needed. Next slide, please. So here are a couple examples of the products that we delivered. On the left, we see a high-resolution color ortho with a GSD of 5 centimeters, and in the customer's words, exceptional clarity. And on the right, we see a dense colorized 3D point cloud derived from the aerial imagery. Overall, the customer was extremely impressed with the quality and accuracy of the data, and they were able to cover the entire study area with 18 flights over 4.5 days with no missing data. Next slide, please. So Delairtech has recognized the need for an end-to-end solution, from mission planning to data acquisition to data processing to data analysis and delivery of final reports. So we've pioneered and developed a concept called Delairtech Analytics. It sits on top of the Delairtech stack in a secure cloud computing and storage environment. And so we're able to literally provide a complete drone as a service to our customers. And it's important to note that at every step of the way, we also perform manual quality checks using expert operators. Next slide, please. So over time, we do see the industry progressing to increased automation in this process. Today, however, we start with our UAS experts controlling and checking the workflow, And over time, we envision migrating to outsourced operators and finally to more automatic processing. Next slide, please. And I think it's important to note that we are integrating with other workflows and other cloud solutions like Trimble's Connect, Trimble Business Center, and UAS Master. Next slide, please. So, given that we can control that entire process, and we have a product called DelairTech Analytics, we started to develop a number of analytic applications. And one of these includes monitoring of overhead power lines for vegetation encroachment. We use customized algorithms to automatically measure the distance from the conductors to vegetation, so the power line companies know exactly where they need to trim for safety reasons. Next slide, please. Another application we've developed is precision agriculture and crop monitoring. Using high-resolution multispectral imagery, we can map and then produce microplot products. These products allow us to count plants, assess vegetation health, and even measure crop heights, to name a few applications. Next slide, please. And so deliverables to the end user include not only the image products, but detailed statistical reports, all of which can be field verified if desired. Next slide, please. So at DelairTech, we provide the tools and expertise to deliver a wide range of products, including raw imagery, orthomosaics, 3D point clouds, and LiDAR point clouds. Next slide, please. And even elevation products like DSMs and DTMs, contour maps, and derived volumetrics, and even thermal video. But we go far beyond just these traditional photogrammetric products, because from these, we are able to develop and deliver advanced analytical products to facilitate true value-add business decisions. And we believe this is just one of the many reasons that sets us apart from our competitors. Thanks for your attention. Phil, I'll let you wrap up.
Okay. One of the things I wanted to mention was that DelairTech and Microdrones are working together to harmonize their hardware and software. So from mission planning software to autopilot to shared payloads, this is going to become more and more integrated over time. Both Microdrones and DelairTech have been reaching out to the Trimble dealers to get them signed up as quickly as possible as Microdrones and DelairTech dealers. However, if you have a need or you just want to learn more or start the purchasing process faster, just reach out to either me or John or both, and we'll make sure that your Trimble dealer, if they're not signed up, they get signed up quickly, and we can get the process moving for you. So I guess we have some questions from out in the audience.
Phil, no questions have come in so far, but if anybody has any questions now, feel free to type them in.
Yes, if you have questions, yeah, please go ahead and type in the chat field there.
And Phil, I don't know if there was any interesting questions from this morning that you wanted to answer as well. Feel free to go over those if you'd like.
Yeah. Someone was asking about becoming a drone pilot in the U.S. And basically, as I mentioned earlier, you need to visit the FAA website and then use the course materials to get ready for the exam. Then you can take your exam at a local testing center, and once you pass that, then you're certified as a drone pilot. And I think this is going to be an area where that's going to be a very large growth area for the U.S.
All right, Phil, we do have a question come in. It
Sure.
says, I have a ZX5. Is there a way I can fly without ground control points?
I don't believe that the ZX5 has a direct georeferencing solution for it. So probably not, but give us a call. Give me a call, and we'll see what we can do. The ZX5 is on a short lifetime as far as Trimble is concerned, and we're switching over to micro drones. But let's talk about it.
Another question, will existing microdrone dealers still provide support, or will Trimble take over?
It depends on where you are in the world. Some of the Trimble dealers also are providing services. So sometimes people don't want to have the local Trimble dealer. If they're competing with them, they don't want to use them for service. So you can always come back to micro drones. We have offices in Rome, New York, and Montreal for the Americas, and also Siegen, Germany, for EMEA. We also have an office in China for the Asian marketplace as well. Some of the existing dealers will continue to sell because they are not necessarily selling into the same marketplace as the Trimble dealers are. It just depends on the territory. But we're not planning on shutting any of the existing ones down massively at this time. This is expanding, not contracting the marketplace.
Sounds good. Another question about how long is the pilot certification good for in the U.S. and any info on the renewal process?
Do you know that, John?
I do not know that. That's a good question. We'll have to research that. I don't know how long the license is good for.
Another question on, can your analyzing software analyze infrared imaging and distinguish a parameter? The example they give is, for instance, 4 to 6 microns in an infrared spectrum, and anything within that parameter is red flagged. Not sure if that question makes sense.
Yes, I think so. So both micro drones and Delairtech use the MicaSense Red Edge 5-band sensor. It's RGB with near infrared and something called Red Edge. The interesting thing about this sensor is that it's got high spectral fidelity, so you get very little spectral overlap, so very little spectral degradation. So it's possible to do quite a few things with it. I'm not sure about the application you're referencing, but that's just a little bit of background information.
Yeah, there are so many different products out there that can do image processing that can take advantage of this. It just depends on what it is you're trying to achieve. I have an answer for you on the drone pilot license. It's good for 2 years.
Sounds good. And another question, do any of the drones, are any of them capable of carrying a 5-kilogram payload that have a low magnetic signature?
Yes, the largest one can carry a 5-kilo payload. Is it a low magnetic signature? Is that what it says?
Yeah, that's what the question was.
Yes, I'm not sure what the application is. Are we talking about a magnetometer? If you could let us know that, that would be great. But it should be able to. If you want to go ahead and write me directly, and I'll get that answered in more detail.
That looks like all the questions that came in.
All right.
Now, let me make a comment on beyond visual line of sight flights.
Sure.
Um, it's a really intriguing application for drones, especially for corridor mapping. So you can imagine being able to fly 25 kilometers downrange and then come 25 kilometers back. Uh, and as opposed to what you have to do today, where you have to stay within visual line of sight, so you're setting up a new mission literally every kilometer or two down the line. So obviously for long linear infrastructure or corridor mapping, this is an incredible technology. Um, Today, there are a number of countries that are already allowing BV lost flights. France is one of them, and Delertec, based in France, certainly have taken advantage of this by engineering their drones for this capability. In the U.S., it is possible to get FAA approval for this, but it's on a case-by-case basis, and they're not granting many of them. And what they're doing currently is they're running a lot of beyond visual line of sight testing at some of the test facilities that they've partnered with various universities to do drone studies. So it's coming, and it's going to be very powerful, especially in the U.S. when it's a lot more allowable. So I just wanted to make that comment.
One last question
Sure.
on what lens are you guys using on the Sony A6300 and the Sony RX1?
Oh, you would ask me that. I don't have the specs in front of me right now. We actually use two different lenses on the A6300. We used a fixed focus lens for the doing the mapping missions, and then we can change it out and use a zoom lens for the inspection missions. Um, the RX1 R2 uses a fixed focus lens that is not removable. That is made specifically for high accuracy mapping. But the A6300 can be interchanged. If you write to me directly, I will get you the lens specs.
Okay, looks like all the questions.
All right. Well, folks, we really appreciate you attending. If you have any other questions or you want to reach out to John or me, you see our contact information there on the screen. Thanks very much for your participation, and we hope to be talking to you soon. For anyone who's going to be attending the International LiDAR Mapping Forum next week in Denver, both companies will be attending, and we will both have booths there. So please stop by if you're going to be there. Thanks very much.